Hey everyone, welcome back to the CAF Convos podcast, where we get down to the nitty-gritty aspects of student life. New main episodes come out every other Monday, and new sub-series episodes come out on the Wednesdays in between. Make sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to drop a follow on our Instagram at CAF Convos Podcast. Enjoy! Hey everyone, welcome back to another cafeteria conversation. Today is our fourth episode of Girl Talk, so we thought we would talk about some women in media that we've seen because there's lots of women in media, but there's also a lot of different types of representation.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, so thought we could start from the beginning, like women we saw in media as kids.
I think at that point there was more like girls in media.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Because the one woman I can remember growing up in media was like Meredith Blank from The Parent Trap. So that was not really like. Like me now. I was like, yeah, she's cool. Like, you know what? Do what you gotta do, girl. But like as a kid, obviously she was painted as the antagonist.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like her, but. I forgot about these ones. I don't know who. I know Ella probably might know them because I think we might have talked about them before. Do you remember the girls from Totally Spies?
I didn't watch Totally Spies.
Yes.
Oh
okay,
my
it was
god.
okay.
Yes.
They were everything I wanted to be, and like
Yes,
more.
I wanted their gadgets and like
I wanted their
to be them. That
shoes.
was so cool.
Yeah, they were so cool, and they were like, I would say they were pretty like good girl characters. Like I thought they were pretty accurate. Like looking back on them now, like they were smart, they were cool, they could fight. I was like, dang, I want to run around in like a solid colored go-go suit and fight criminals.
Yeah. As like a kid, those were like the common tropes I watched as a kid, which was pretty good. It was like high school girls that would turn into superheroes by night, like with the secret identity, like
Yeah.
Winx Club,
Oh
Totally
yeah, that's
Spies.
kind of
I used
like
to watch this,
the like they would go to school, average schoolgirls in the morning,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
they go
yeah,
home
yeah,
and their
yeah.
housemaid
I
was like a
love
magic
that,
fairy.
because like, no one knew,
Kim
but they were
Possible,
so like great, like
Yeah. What does that say about
when they
society?
get bullied and it'd be like then they have to save the bully during
Oh, yeah.
like a
yeah, yeah.
problem, and then the
Oh my
bully would
gosh,
thank
yeah.
them, and I'd be like, you don't know,
You don't even
you
know.
don't know, but
You
I
don't even
know.
know. Yeah. Oh, and I think I wasn't really the only other like TV shows that I can remember like really being invested in as a child was like The Next Step. If anyone remembers that show
Oh, the
from Family
dancing
Channel,
one?
the dancing one, yeah.
Oh,
Love.
I was watching clips on YouTube the other day. If you watch them back, it's really hard to watch because it's really embarrassing to.
Yeah, I rewatched it. I rewatched like from season 1 to season 4, like by YouTube video a while back, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I was this invested in this show. But like, it's weird to think that they were like our age too.
Yeah, like they were
Yeah.
high school students, and now we're high school students.
Yeah, I think that's one thing is like looking back on the media that you consumed as a child, especially ones that like we said were taking place like you were high school girls doing all this stuff, and you think about like, dang, like we're their age or even possibly older than them, and it's a really weird concept to like think about. Like I'm not a superhero, I don't moonlight as a vigilante. What am I doing?
Do you know the show 16? It's like a bunch of it's a group of teenagers, and they all hang out at the mall like every episode. I watched that at the age of 4 because my parents thought it was like a regular cartoon. It's not. It's really inappropriate for a 4-year-old.
It is.
So, like surpassing them in age last year was super strange because I was like, I don't have a job at the mall. I don't work at a lemon, but it's nice because you get to see the whole friend group, how they all interact, and I guess I don't want to say it's like ours, but
No,
we
yeah.
have that sense of like friendship, and it's fun to see because back then, as a kid, it's always, oh, you have to only hang out with girls, or it's weird if you hang out with guys. You're like
Right.
an outcast if you do.
Right, yeah,
So
yeah.
seeing that, growing up, and then getting that friend group that's like mixed, it's not just
Oh,
girls.
yeah,
Not that there's
yeah.
a problem with it, but it didn't give me that sense of restriction in my friends, because I know some people do, like, oh, you hang out with boys, aren't you afraid of cooties? Like
That was never a thing for me. I don't know. I think I remember the cheese touch, but that was never gender
Oh my
specific.
God.
Oh man.
Yeah. You know another one that reminded me of 16? This is probably one of the most inaccurate portrayals of like not only just girls but like everything, but Total Drama Revenge of the Island. I rewatched that on
Total
Netflix.
Drama
Sorry,
Island?
Total
Is that
Drama
a
Island.
spin-off?
Yeah.
Oh,
Revenge of
oh,
the
oh.
Island was a spin-off, sorry.
Oh
I
wow.
rewatched Total Drama Island like during quarantine last year. And like I would think they're a pretty good example of where you see in a lot of media where like, and they didn't just do this with the girls, they did this with the guys as well. That's why I'm saying like it's not just them, but they did like that typical like this character has one personality trait, like the mean girl, the dumb girl, the weird girl, the smart girl, the goth girl. Like they did those tropes. And I think as a kid you kind of like internalize that as like, okay, so out of all of these one-dimensional traits, which one do I want? Because I remember like heavily aspiring towards like this specific facet of a girl. Like it's kind of like when you watch a TV show.
Yeah, and then there's like two distinct or like the distinct like stereotypes each character fits into, and then you're like, okay, which one do I want to be? Because I can't be both. I gotta be one of them. It's like like iCarly, like Harley and Sam. Do you want to be Carly, true. Like the girly girl, like fun, everyone likes her, or Sam, like the badass, like scary, like tomboy girl? Like you gotta, which one?
Same with Victorious. Like you had Cat Valentine.
Man.
Tori. What was her last name? Vega, yeah. And you had Jade West. I wanted to be Jade West. I still haven't. She was like my childhood girl crush. She was so cool to me. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to think that like you're kind of presented with this tray of options and you're like, okay, which one do I want to be? Because as every kid, when you consume media, you're like, who am I trying to aspire to be?
Because these are like, I don't know, like inspiration. I don't know. You don't have like I don't know. As a kid, you don't have a personality. Like you're a kid.
Yeah.
So, oh my god. Okay, kind of off topic, but one time someone told me I reminded them of Cat Valentine. So when I watched Sam and Cat, I was very confused. Because
do you remember like there were probably definitely people at everyone's school where
they wanted to be Cat Valentine?
Yeah, and they like talk like Cat, they laugh.
Her laugh.
I wanted to be like her, but then I realized like it's so much work.
Yo, props to Ariana Grande for like playing that character, because like I've watched behind the scenes stuff where like you see her flip in and out of that character, and I'm like,
if I was Ariana Grande, I probably would quit like second day on the job.
Oh, true, 100%.
Oh, I know. They used to talk about like her dyeing her hair all the time.
Yeah, and she will bald.
That's a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she had a lot of hair. That was crazy.
Oh, another one with all like the different types of like girl tropes. My Little Pony. Like Fluttershy was like the really dainty, like, oh, I'm so I don't know, I'm so weak and somebody save me, and then Rainbow Dash is like, I'm gonna save you, Fluttershy. And then there's Applejack, and then Rarity. Oh, I love Rarity. I thought I really liked her mane. It was like
yes.
Twilight Sparkles. I didn't really like. I think the main character's not this like. Twilight Sparkles is a Tori Vega of My Little Pony.
Oh no.
No.
But like I just remember like I definitely watched My Little Pony later than most people did, because I used to I have a family friend that's like a little kid, right? And you watch little kid shows with your like little kid friends. Yeah. And they would always want to watch My Little Pony, and then I'd sit there and be like, and then but I actually invest like me in like elementary school with a couple like 5-year-olds watching My Little Pony, and I was invested. I was like, no, Rarity, don't do that. You're gonna die. Don't fly up there. You should know by now.
It was good.
Yeah, like okay, remember that one
where Equestria Girls, like when Twilight moved over to the other universe and they became like sort of human?
No. What?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it got more tropey that way. I think it was like, yeah, high school girl trope, you know.
But they're horses.
Bully, and then they become friends.
They're kind of like become humanish.
That's kind of that's unsettling. Like, see, I don't know, the idea of Twilight Sparkle walking around as like a half human, half horse.
They're kind of cute.
I don't.
Were they like centaurs?
It's no. It's like
they're
it's
walking
like,
humans. It's just they have the wings. Did they have the horns? I
you
think
know,
they had
like
the
Ever
horns.
After High or like Monster
Oh,
High.
Okay,
like
okay,
like a
okay.
horse,
That's
but like
kind of
that.
type.
Did they have like a
Okay,
tail
okay.
and mane still? Like, was their mane just their
Not-
hair?
Don't
Yeah,
think
they
of
just have
they
hair, I
didn't have the
think.
mane,
Okay.
but they had the hair. Yeah.
Man, I kind of want to watch My Little Pony now.
You know, okay, I feel like, I don't know if you guys, because none of you have sisters, but maybe this happened when you were younger with your other like girlfriends. But I remember my sister and I, whenever we would watch something, we would always have to pick the character we wanted to be, and you would like, and in a lot of children's media, there was always like one girl who was, quite clearly coded to be the favorite girl of all of them, and like me and my sister would fight over who got to be what character. I don't know what we were being, but we would fight over it.
And they would always say the quote unquote bad girl was not actually, like, it's fine, they're not even that bad. You could totally be them. Or like like if you were like recreate, like, I don't know. I don't know if you guys did this, but like as little kids, me and my friends wanted to like recreate scenes. There's a time where I wanted to be a director. And then I'd always get stuck with like they'd always want that one character that's like the one girl that's like the it girl, you know, like the cool girl, and then there's always gonna be like that random, like, I don't know, like the side character girl. And they're like, you know, she's not even that bad. You could totally be her.
Like I totally think you'd be her. Yeah.
It's like I wanted to be her first, but I think she fits you more. Like I'm sacrificing her. And I'm like,
yes.
Girl,
oh my god.
What? Why are we gaslighting at the age of 6? What is this?
Like in 3rd grade, my friends and I used to fully like role play Monster High. Like I got assigned Draculaura. And then my friend chose Cleo for herself.
Were you a Draculaura person?
I was like, yeah. So, but my friend chose Cleo for herself, but she was like the mean one, right?
Cleo was like arguably one of my favorite characters. So like looking,
she was a good character, yeah. So, but she picked her for herself, and then she gave her other friend Frankie. So Loki was like such a bully her every day.
Frankie was the Tori Vega of Monster High.
That's true, yeah. There was always a Tori Vega of like one of those. Like, okay, wait, Ever After High 2. With,
I don't remember.
I guess Apple White.
Oh, true. I know.
Is that supposed to be Snow White?
Snow White's daughter.
They're like the children.
Oh, imagine like I think it's funny that Snow White had a kid and was like, yeah, apple. I ate an apple one time. That's your name.
Like, you know that? Okay, does anyone know that Harry Potter meme? No, you don't. But to any listener, about how Harry in the epilogue, hey, spoiler if you haven't read the Harry Potter series, whatever. At the end, Harry has a kid named Albus Severus, and there's this meme that goes around.
Harry has a kid, isn't he 12?
Yeah, it's an epilogue.
What?
Yeah, it's an epilogue. He's 18 by the end of the books.
And he has a kid.
No, he has a kid. It's 10 years later, so he's like in his late 20s.
So he's 28.
Okay.
Yeah, and people make jokes because like he picked the two like arguably worst names after maybe like Cho Chang in the Harry Potter series to like attach to his kid. Okay, never mind. I tried.
No.
Maybe there's a listener who knows what meme I'm talking about, but it's like that with the names of the Ever After High people. The only one that I can remember having a good name was Cerise.
Oh, I love
her.
That? You know what? I really liked Ever After High because that was like
it was really well made
from Riding Hood.
It was good because I feel like it focused because it had the split between the royals and the rebels, but it focused a lot on the rebels. Like they even had the royals sometimes convert to rebels because it was like choose your own destiny.
Yeah, Ever After High was great. I like their shoes a lot more than I like the shoes in Monster High.
Wait, I want to go back to the wolf thing. The wolf was she a wolf or is she like a half wolf, half human?
She's like a werewolf.
She was half because Little Red Riding Hood ended up falling in love with the big bad wolf and they had a kid.
Is that like for real? Is that for real? Like, does that actually happen in the?
No. So it's
Ever
After High. I think Little Red Riding Hood ended up being like a rebel, which is why people were like shunning her, and then
because she married a
kid
wolf.
Was like
and had a kid with it.
Oh, no. Maybe people didn't know about it. I think it was a secret, so that's why she always had the hood on to hide her ears.
Yeah.
She wanted to protect her mom's reputation.
And then Cheshire Cat's daughter saw her.
Yes. From the weird cat with the weird eyes.
Yeah.
Who
Kitty
that
Cheshire,
thing have a kid
right?
with?
I don't know.
Some
of them just have kids.
Okay.
Yeah, like it was just okay. Wait, speaking of the whole like kids of the fairy tales, because fairy tales are a big part. I want to talk about fairy tales. So first, I want to talk about Descendants. Did anyone here watch Descendants, the Disney original movie? Because I okay, again, during quarantine, I like rewatched all of them, and I thought, you know, because those movies were made pretty recently. Like the third one came out in 2019, I think, and I was like, you know what, Disney's moved past the trope girls and the singular dimension, because we have Elsa, we had Merida, like we have these progressive princesses. No.
Oh.
Well, kind of, but just not with like it was kind of a little bit more in-depth girls, but it still felt very flat to me, especially in the like latter movies, because it still was about like a boy
fighting over a boy.
Yeah, well, not fighting over a boy, but like the first one was good because it was about like the main character gaining her own independence and becoming who she wants to be, and I was like, yeah. And then I mean, you know what? It was kind of good. It was just no, like they were good films. I just feel like it felt very like high school stage play, shallow.
Yeah, but if you like look back at a lot of things we watched, a lot of it was like two kind of opposite girls and one guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. If it was marketed towards girls, that's how it would be. But if it was marketed towards both genders, it would just be like a group of mostly boys and then two girls.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about that, or like sometimes even less, like that's for like more younger groups, but like usually that's how they compose it.
Outerbanks.
Oh my goodness! Don't get me started on Outerbanks.
Like I don't know, like I feel like the majority of the audience is like teen girls, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of fits. Like It kind of
go off.
I really hate that it plays into like the cattiness or like the pettiness of like girls. Like, oh my god, Sarah Cameron and whatever that girl's name. What is their beef? Oh my gosh.
Oh, Kiara.
And it's Kiara. Oh, I don't know. And it's just like, oh, you didn't invite me to your birthday party.
Yeah, the beef ended up being so...
Yeah. Like, they had so much more potential to do something, like, with their... Because, like, here's the thing. As much as I crap on that show, like, Sarah Cameron, I feel like she was a decent, accurate representation of, like, your middle, upper-class 16-year-old girl. So, like, I'm not saying she needed to have all this trauma, but I definitely agree, like, they could have done more with her conflict with Kiara.
Like, Sarah Cameron and Kiara, whatever... I keep reading... Is it Kiara? Is it really?
I think it's Kira because I kept calling her Key.
Okay, yeah, okay. Sarah and Key. I'm gonna call her Key because like they're pretty. Like they were likable characters. Like they were probably like in the shows right now. Their characters are one of the like on the top of the list of like semi-accurate. You know, like not semi-accurate, like pretty accurate. You know, like Kiara was like save the turtles. Oh, hoo. Yeah, you know, and then Sarah Cameron was like
pretty.
Like they were like, I don't know. I don't want to say realistic, but they were. I don't know. They were kind of realistic.
From the crimes we get, they weren't terrible.
Yeah, they made the show enjoyable. John B, the Tori Vega of Outerbanks.
Oh my god. The thing is, like, I'm fine with conflict like that, but the problem is it's always girls. Like, I feel like it gets lazy with girls.
Yeah, it's like, what can we do to make
these
two?
The way they made up was just...
That's true.
Because then you had the other conflict with the guys. He fully, like, destroyed the jet ski thing?
Yeah.
And that was so much more interesting to watch. Finding out their conflict was so anticlimactic. It felt lazy, you know?
Like, it was just conflict be conflict. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then...
Because apparently that's what girls do. Like, small things, and then their friendships fall apart.
Yeah, and it's always over very small things. Like, it's never anything really... I don't know.
But you know what? I wouldn't even mind the small conflict because if I'm remembering the show correctly, like, didn't they shove Sarah and Key on a boat together and make them, like, kind of make up? I feel like if you're gonna give something a conflict between two characters that comes off as small, do something to show why it was such a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be mad if it was like, if there was like a deeper reason to why she was so hurt by not being invited to the birthday party, but they didn't do that. The guys kind of treated the conflict very trivially. They were just like, just get along, man. Like,
exactly.
They're on a boat, like, put on bikinis, like, go chill. And it's like, because then it solidifies the fact that it was very petty conflict. I don't know. No depth.
We can start talking about like current shows now that we've moved on to Outer Banks, or because we kind of touched bases on a lot of children shows.
Okay. I don't know about like shows. I'm gonna sidetrack us just a tiny bit because like for me growing up and now a lot of my female role models were like book characters.
Oh yeah.
So I want to talk about Hermione Granger and Annabeth Chase because I feel like they were. I know you guys didn't like read those books, so I'm gonna keep it as brief as possible. But like, I think they were the two girls that I can remember growing up were like every book nerd's role model because like you had this like Hermione was from a lower class, like lower status in the book, right? Like she was from two human parents who had no magic. She was always bullied, and then she becomes like one of the most powerful witches of her age, and she's so smart and like all this cool stuff. I just remember thinking like against all the odds, like she was a very powerful female role model to a lot of young girls. And then very similarly, I would say with Annabeth Chase, again, very smart girl. Although I would say that both of them kind of fell into that similar trope of like not like other girls.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like they necessarily. I don't think that they ever really put down other girls.
But the idea was there.
But like yeah, like you had the scene. Well, at least in Harry Potter, you have the scene where Hermione like she's going to the ball and she comes down and like she's all like made up, and you have that very typical scene where the girl who never wears makeup, who's kind of like quote unquote ugly, not like ugly, but like you know, not always dressed like they're ready to walk a runway, and then you're like, and then suddenly the guy notices her, like, oh.
Yeah, I really hate tropes like that where you can't really be, I guess, smart or powerful yet be girly at the same time. Like,
yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. For example, Mean Girls. Like Katie couldn't be smart if she was pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot more to it, but when she was like, in order to be smart, in order to be pretty, in order to be pretty and cool, she had to be stupid. You know what I mean? Like she was failing her math test on purpose. But then, as soon as she like stops trying to be girly, she shows up in like the mathlete's outfit, then that's when she's smart. Like
and the only other girl on the mathletes team was like so like costumed
to be not... like nerdy. Oh. Yeah. Like I don't know. I don't know. I always felt like, oh, I can't be girly if I'm gonna be smart, but then I can't be smart if I want to be girly, so I gotta pick one. You know, like obviously no one was like, you gotta pick one right now or else you're gonna but it was like in my mind. It
felt like that.
Know? Like it was in your mind, like thinking about, oh, if you want to be perceived as like a feminine girly person, then you can't really be smart because look at all the smart girls, they're not girly, and look at all the girly girls, they're not smart. But one movie that I did like that kind of went with it was Legally Blonde. Elle Woods. Okay, because she was allowed to be girly and like I don't want to say ditzy, but she wasn't like a nerd constantly 24/7. Yet she was smart. She performed well. She was really a smart character. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know. It's one of the only characters that I can think of that was girly. Like didn't like make being girly a bad thing and didn't make being smart a bad thing. You know what I mean? Because normally in like, I don't know, when you have shows about like a smart girl, usually the girly girl is like the bad girl, like the antagonist, right? Antagonist. And if you have a movie about like a girly girl, the nerd is like the antagonist. You know what I mean?
Or if there's, you know, like protagonist character that's girly and feminine, usually she's also really dumb, and that's like a humor point of her character.
I was gonna say, I think the progression of girls has kind of changed because I'm gonna give big props to Rick Riordan because like he had I remember there's a character in his series in Percy Jackson, and a lot of his series, like I think he does a really good job of being inclusive with all different types of minorities, but in a way that doesn't come out really tokenistic. But I remember when I was reading it, because everyone on that age group wanted to be like Annabeth Chase, like this smart, like powerful girl, which like she was. But he also really highlighted this other female character who was the daughter of Aphrodite. Like there were two. Hold on, there were two that were the daughter of Aphrodite, and even in the books they were always kind of viewed as like weaker because like, you know, the daughter of the goddess of love and beauty can't possibly like be strong and all this stuff. But he gave them both power in their own rights without necessarily making them shed their femininity and their beauty, like in a sense, like they were both powerful and smart and intelligent characters that were still beautiful in that, I guess, typically girly way. But they, at the same time, it didn't bring down the other characters who weren't like that. Like I thought it was really good. Like I never felt like he was pitting the two types of girls against each other. It was like, if we're bringing back that analogy of like girls are kind of given this table of, or sorry, not this tray of different tropes you could be. I found that with his books, there were a lot of like, you felt like you could be both. Like you could pick smart and beautiful, and I thought that was really, it was really nice to have growing up, because you're like, I could be like, if I want to be this character, I could be smart, beautiful, powerful, strong, and independent. And it's like, wow, like
there's no competition between like, I guess, the two tropes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the whole like girly girls versus nerdy girls really, I don't know. It really gets to me. I don't know. It annoys me a lot, just because you can kind of see it still being a thing at like the old age of like 17, 18. You can still see people like, I don't know, like believing that system of like nerds are ugly, but dumb girls are pretty. You know what I mean?
Did you guys read Babysitter's Club?
No.
A bit of it, I think.
Okay, it was like the whole friend group was a different trope, but they got along. But then they had this one time they had a fight, and then like the fashionistas of the group were on one side, and then the tomboy and the shy one were on one side, and that was really sad. But I still really liked Babysitter's Club. It was good because I think it was well-written conflict for, I think, middle schoolers.
Okay.
Oh wait, did anyone watch that show like My Babysitter's a Vampire with that one
Rennie kid? One episode.
Oh. I never watched it because it looks very like.
There was one vampire who used to be like a nerd, and then she became a vampire and she got hot or something, and then she wasn't a nerd. And then when they would go on their missions, she would say some really smart thing, and everybody would be like, how did you know that? And then she was like, I'm smart. Y'all, I used to be a nerd. Or like,
okay, wait. That sounds like, what is it called? Vampire Academy. Did anyone watch Vampire Academy? Okay, that's like the one and only vampire movie I watched like 6 times. But same exact thing happened. There was this character who was like the nerdy, shy one. And it was played by Sarah Hyland. So she's the one who plays the oldest sister in Modern Family.
Oh, so Modern Family! Like... Oh, sorry. Keep going. Okay, I like Modern Family. We'll go there next. Okay.
But she was pretty. Like, she was a pretty character. But like, she was dressed up to not be pretty. And she was... she ends up being like a villain at the end of the movie. Like, she ends up turning on all of the vampires because no one ever notices her beauty, and no one ever like it becomes this whole thing where like this guy who she like was never noticed by, who she wanted him to take her virginity, she ends up killing him instead. And like when she transforms into like the evil vampire, she becomes like all like quote unquote like hot and stuff, and like her hair comes out and it's like waves, and she no longer needs glasses, and it's like, why? And like that was her whole arc, was that she never felt. And you know what, again, I think like you see a lot of potential, like where like I wish the writers went somewhere with it, because her feelings of inferiority were valid, right? Like you could have done something different with that, instead of just making her turn into an evil vampire that like just dies. Like the character dies in the end, because like of course
spoiler. I was gonna watch it. Wow.
Oh, sorry, spoiler. But like, I don't know, like I those kind of tropes where like they have the potential to kind of go somewhere. Like, you've introduced this topic of inferiority and like, I guess, pretty privilege in a sense, if you want to maybe stretch it, but then you kind of just like cut it short and you don't do anything with it, and it's like
you almost hit the point of like
good genuine development.
Like there's I don't know, like you almost hit the point where it's like, why is beauty so valuable, blah. Exactly. But then you completely miss it. You make the ugly girl, quote unquote ugly girl, hot. She completely like
Princess
everything completely
Diaries.
Yeah. Like, it's like you could tackle such a big thing. Like, why do you only value people that are attractive? But then instead of doing that, you just kind of be like, oh, I'm attracted
Celebrate.
now. I'm gonna kill you for not taking my virginity. Die. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, Modern Family, go.
Yes, I really liked Modern Family. Like, each I don't know if you watch it. It just follows like a Modern Family, and there's like 3 families, and then like I guess like the main family, they had like 2 daughters and like a son. But the 2 daughters, Haley, the older one, she's like she's like the dumb ditzy one, and then Alex is like the middle child. She's like the smart one. And like yes, they play into like I don't know, the tropes, I guess, but they like go further than that. Like you can see that Haley's not just like the dumb popular girl. Like she has interest. She likes photography. She's good at photography. She can take these girly interests of hers and do good with it. Like she's working at like companies for like fashion and stuff. Like she's going far with being a girly girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, oh, she's so dumb. She's just got to find a rich husband. You know, she's pretty. She has that going for her. But I don't know. I liked seeing that she did something. I guess like her character amounted to something. Like she was able to do more than just like
without having to lose her.
Yeah, like she
initial.
was she was still like
and she
dumb
didn't do
and
the thing where she
but...
settled for like anything. You know,
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then with Alex, she was like the nerd, right? But she was still pretty. You know what I mean? Like people didn't, you know, like yeah, Haley made fun of her outfits, but like I don't know, that's your older sister for you, I guess. But I don't know, she was still able to be more than just like a nerd, you know? Like she was a nerd with interests, you know what I mean?
I liked when she got older and they started to like they had her like embrace her sexuality more, you know, became like an actual woman, like a normal person, you know? Like but there was never a part in Modern Family that I remember at least that she threw away like her academics.
Yeah, like there would be like parts, there would be like an episode or so, but then she'd realize that she like messed up and she shouldn't do that. Like there was never like I don't know, she would do something dumb, but she would learn from her mistakes, you know, like it wouldn't be
and that's human. Exactly. Yeah, I remember. Okay, I know this is we're mainly going to be talking about fictional characters in here, but I remember when the actress who plays Alex, when because she grew up on camera, right?
Yeah. She got emancipated, right?
Yeah, I remember. I remember so heavily how much backlash she faced, because Emma mentioned it, like as she started to embrace her sexuality, because like she's an adult now. Yeah. I think.
Yes, she is. She's like in her 20s now, I think.
Yeah, she's like in her 20s now, and I think that's a really interesting aspect of women in media, especially women in media that grow up in the media, where like they kind of hit an age where like they're adults now. They're not going to be the same as they were when they were 12, but like, and I think you see that with a lot. I'm kind of going all over the place. I apologize, but like Disney stars.
Yeah, like remember Disney their purity rings?
No,
they were like a while ago. A bunch of them were like made to wear purity rings. Like the Jonas Brothers had to wear purity rings.
Oh, I remember that. And like I think I remember that.
Like when it was like early 2000s ish, or maybe not.
You wear jewelry to just basically say that you're not gonna have. You're gonna save yourself for marriage.
Yeah, and I remember they had to wear them when they were in Disney shows, but I think as soon as they like left Disney, they took them off, and then oh my god, I remember everyone went crazy over it. It was just the idea that like I guess child actors,
especially Disney stars, because I feel like when you grow up in the media and you kind of evolve, because I feel like it's very hard for society to understand that women evolve and that women can have more than one personality trait. I know I talk about that a lot, but like I feel like you see that a lot in media. Like when the character does evolve, they have to sacrifice everything that they had before. Like you see that in any sort of makeover, transformation, movie, show, book, where the character kind of ends up having to lose what they were before in order to attain this new, like quote unquote, like this typically beauty. Like typically like this quote unquote like more enhanced beauty of like looking more like a princess, you know? And I was always like, you know, it never resonates because that's not how you actually evolve and grow, because you don't lose that, like, or if you're not losing it, you're told that you don't need it anymore. So I don't know, like, but I think there's a lot more women, especially in movies, that are kind of embodiment of a lot of different facets of women, like Natasha Romanoff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I wanted to be her so badly as a child, because like I felt like one of the first female superheroes that I don't know if I don't want to say one of the first, one of the first female
like
superheroes.
mainstream like movie superhero.
Yeah, and like one of the first main superheroes in the MCU was like strong, kick woman, intelligent, funny, and like she was her.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like that was just, and she was never like reliant on someone else. Like she was her own like person.
Like she wasn't,
and it wasn't villainized.
Yeah, like she wasn't weaker or anything. Like she was like on par with like the men on the team, you know what I mean? Like she wasn't the damsel in distress or anything. Like she didn't like mess up something or anything because she was a woman.
And she never had to go through that phase where like, you know, and stuff where like it's a girl going onto an all guys team where the girl always has to like the guys always doubt them until there's like this mission, and then she saves them, and then suddenly they respect her. Like she had respect from the get-go. Yeah, like she was, and I like that a lot.
Like she was like the not pioneer, that's the wrong word, but she was like an OG, you know, like.
Yeah,
they planned it with her in mind. Like they were like, "Yo, Natasha, you available? Can you get this green man?" And then she was like, "Okay." You know what I mean? Like she was part of the beginning. Like she wasn't thrown in or whatever. She was like there, you know? Like I feel like Marvel has a lot of very good female characters. Some of them do rely on like being sexy, you know, like nothing wrong with it, but their sexuality is heavily featured as like a part of their marketability, you know what I mean? Like
you can typically tell when you like, I feel like as a girl you typically can tell when a character's sexuality is like their genuine sexuality, like it's just them as a character versus like when it's being used for like
like you can see the different ways Natasha is portrayed in movies based on what like I don't know, depends on the movie
that they had for her.
Yeah, like in Iron Man she's like hot seductive girl, you know, obviously like that's part of her character, but that's like a lot of what she is at the beginning, like before the Avenger, like
that's true
she is like, I guess, like she's still like a strong character, but it's not the focus on the fact that she's strong at the beginning. It's the focus on that she's like sexy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you look at the movie posters. I remember someone showed the comparison even between like Winter Soldier and Widow posters. Even just how they edited her body to have very like the hourglass.
And like now the like unzipped, like, unzipped top, like down to versus like the zipped up top.
Yeah.
Like if you watch like Endgame and like the last Avenger movies, like the third and fourth one, there's a really big difference between those and then the first two based on like the way they treat Natasha's sexuality.
They costumed her.
Like obviously like her sexuality is a big part of her character, but it's not the only focus in the later two movies, you know what I mean? Like do you remember the scenes in the second one where like her and Hulk are just kaboom lands on Hulk, like pressed against him, and he's like
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's so obviously playing into the fact that she's like a hot girl lying on. It's like the nerdy boy and hot girl. I don't know. Like I think the person that directed that movie is known for these tropes. Like in whatever movie, like Justice League movie he directed or something.
Justice League,
the exact same thing happens with like Flash
Wonder Woman,
yeah, like she lands on him and he's like and like it's like the nerdy flustered guy and like the hot girl, like I don't know, man's projecting, like okay. I don't know, do you know what I mean? Like like I don't know, in two movies that you directed.
I hate that trope. I hate whenever someone falls on top of someone else and it's just like clearly like just for the
like the body on body, like ooh.
Yeah, like the like ooh. Like I hate that so much.
Yeah, there's like speaking of different portrayals of women whose sexuality is a part of the character, you can look at Birds of Prey versus Suicide Squad. I didn't watch Birds of Prey, but I've seen clips of it, and I don't know, like Harley is
I watched
still
the
like,
whole
I
analysis
guess,
on it.
yeah, she's like still sexy in Birds of Prey, you know, like
Mhm,
sexiness
mhm.
is still part of her character, but it's not like there's more to her, you know? Because in the first movie,
Mhm.
she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna change at the airport," and then yeah, you know
It's
what
more
I mean?
autonomous. Like it
it's
feels like the sexuality is the characters.
yeah,
you
like
know?
Even
it's
her
not
costume design.
like her sexuality isn't forced as like you guys should watch this movie because Margot Robbie is like naked in it, but and then versus like Birds of Prey where it's like you should watch this movie because Margot Robbie whatever I forget what's her name
Margot Robbie, you're right.
yeah she's like she's playing a very cool character. Do you know what I mean? Like the difference between
Yeah.
like the way
Because
that
it's more like they're written to embrace their sexuality, like we said about Alex, because you know that's like an important thing for women to have. But
Exactly.
without making that the only thing or doing it in a way to cater to men.
Like the like there I don't know. There's definitely a very large amount of female characters in like mostly like not mostly like just in I guess mainstream media where like everyone's gonna be watching it that do allow sexuality and it's like I don't know. It's like yeah, empowerment like you can be sexy, you can still be like a badass, you know, blah blah blah. But it's like every single one and it's like because they know that if a female character isn't like sexy,
yeah,
some people won't want to watch it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We can talk about Captain Marvel, regardless of whether or not people think it's a good movie. She was like one of the first like female superheroes, I guess, that didn't really rely on their sexuality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like, or maybe like, it. I don't know. It focused on being.
Focused on the character.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't in a relationship in the movie.
Yeah. Okay. Back to Natasha Romanoff for a second. Whatever they were trying to do with Bruce Banner in Age of Ultron, I was so like, I felt like that really just tainted her. Not like I don't want to say tainted her character, but like that whole movie.
It was awkward.
Like I love Age of Ultron. Like I think it's like in concept one of my favorite Marvel movies. But like what they were doing there with her whole like I can't have children, I'm a monster. Like that whole thing, I was like, come on.
Yeah, it was really awkward to watch the scenes between her and like Hulk. Like I get that dude's like Banner's a pretty awkward dude, but I don't know. It just felt really awkward to watch.
It felt so forced because like they were not like I felt like they were way more compatible as friends. And then they just were like I think it was kind of like they needed to put a love interest in somewhere because there's always a love interest in superhero movies. Yeah. And like Tony had Pepper, Cap was like dealing with his own stuff. They're like, okay, who do we got left? Oh, and Hawkeye was married. Like, who's left? Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah. It's like when you like when people start shipping random characters just because they're the only single ones left. Like you know when like it seems like something like I don't know a random fan would do like oh guys Natasha and Bruce are so lonely I think they should date or like you know what I mean like
oh yeah
I don't know if I'm just making this up or but I swear I read like a thing where both the actors for the characters are like yeah it was awkward or something like I don't know
yeah because I'm pretty sure they're like really just good friends in real life.
Yeah I just it feels awkward when like female characters are kind of just pushed to be a girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah. You know.
Mm-hmm. Like when you're watching it and it's just like, oh, are we really doing that right now? I mean, like,
you can feel it coming. You can feel it. You can feel it. Like I watch shows now, and okay, I'm gonna use this big word that Alana taught me. I'm gonna say dichotomy. The female dichotomy where it's like a woman is either like the pure like damsel in distress or they're like this really sexual villainized type character and I feel like you don't see it as much anymore but you see kind of like undertones of that in a lot of characters and I feel like when you watch shows at least for me like when I watch new shows I can automatically kind of feel I'm like oh this character they're gonna go this route they're gonna do that trope with this character oh, this character is going to be this character trope, and they're going to do this with this character. Like, it becomes very predictable and unentertaining because there's no depth. But I feel like we are improving upon that. I feel like shows have definitely improved upon that, and I feel like I see, because I feel like we kind of went from that phase of like girls being heavily dependent on a male character, you know, like they're just there to be the boy, that's not the boyfriend, sorry, the girlfriend, the wife, the love interest, to like girls who have no love interest whatsoever, which is fine. Like, and that was a great change to see, like, that they aren't so dependent on it. But now I feel like we're seeing a good blend of like they can have relationships and dependencies on other characters, but they're still their own character.
Yeah, like a lot of like female characters are like at the ends of extremities, you know, like like oh, I need a man versus like I don't need a man, I'm by myself and I'm so strong. But you can also be strong and not need a man, but you can also like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or sorry, be strong and like have, you know what I mean? Like it's just like the extremes, never the medium.
I saw this quote. I don't remember it properly, but it was like, as a girl, you kind of, well, I don't know. I resonated with it because I feel like I went through that phase where you're kind of like the independent woman, don't need no man. Like I'm on my own. Like, but you want affection and you want love, but to kind of, and it's okay to want that, but it kind of feels like as a result of the extremity of the like super independent, super like girl boss characters, to admit to that is like admitting to weakness.
Yeah.
And it just further pushes the idea that like those, I guess, quote unquote softer feelings and traits are something that make you less of a person or a character.
Yeah, and those like softer, weaker traits are often associated with like the more like very feminine, very like like femininity, and like I guess like the further you like the more like badass and independent you are, is like, for example, in like movie characters, the more like the further they distance themselves from like female characteristics, like typical female characteristics that you would see in like a typical like, I don't know, just like more feminine, more things that are associated with femininity, and the more they stray away, the more cool they are, the more badass they are. And then when they start like, they can't associate with those feminine traits, or else they're no longer badass, they're no longer cool. And I don't know, like once again we talk about like the villainization of femininity in like our past episodes, and you can also still see that here, like the, once again, like the tom girls are cool, like the bad independent girls are cool, like do you know what I mean? You can't, like there isn't a lot of like cool very feminine characters that people would like when you think of like strong women in media, you think of like Black Widow, you think of like bad, like very cold, non-feminine woman. Because a feminine woman could never be like strong. Like I don't know.
I think that's why Totally Spies is good. Because Totally Spies, they're all girly. They like, you know, traditionally set as girly things. And yet they're also really powerful, they're really smart, but they do make mistakes. They do, you know, have complicated stories.
Yeah. And their gadgets were all like makeup items, and I found that so cool. Like I wanted those gadgets so badly as a kid. Like those like the lipstick taser and like
gosh, yes. And like makeup
the mirror
that like the guy would
Yeah, I feel like
I miss it. It should rewatch it.
It feels like if I were to try to like put it into like an image as a child, it's kind of like growing up, it was like I was looking towards this female character that was so like flat, and I just couldn't relate to them, like because they didn't embody what I was feeling. And then as time progressed, it got closer and closer and closer and closer to what I am, but then it never stopped. It kind of just shot to the other side then. And now I'm left with this character that feels so unattainable, but I feel like I have to attain to.
Yeah, like, do you want, like, oh, you say you're like a feminist, well, how come you aren't like this super cool badass feminist character? And then it's like the extreme, like on the other end of like no feminine traits whatsoever. Do you know what I mean?
Like the people who are like, it's like, why would you want to be a housewife? Aren't you like a feminist?
Like oh, if you're such a feminist, why do you want to do like blank? Like disrupt the male thing, go into like back again. Like we're there's a lot of crossover between episodes. Like to be progressive you can't be feminine. Like it goes like a 360. Like you're so close to like hitting the point of like women can do what they want to do. There's no like set bound to who they can be. Went around it and came all the way back, and now it's bad to be feminine.
Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
It's like that whole idea of like I don't feel like women are able to retain their like I feel like we're not able to retain more than one like ideal concept image, right?
Yes.
Like
and it's like definitely reinforced through the things we like watch, like growing up, right now, as adults, etc.
Yeah, because it's shown as a positive thing. Like it's always considered positive. Like I'm using the makeover trope again. Like it's a positive thing that she no longer wants to read books and she's pretty and her hair's down. Or it's a positive thing when like she stops wearing makeup and she's like super smart and cares about her smarts now. And like you never, or not never, but like it's very rare to see a one where it's like they discover the other thing and they blend them together.
Like I don't know. It's just it's rough out here. I don't know. Like
it's complicated.
Because it's like, and it's also like not one trope. It's like it goes both ways, like nerd to pretty, pretty to nerd, etc. And then it's like confusing. It's like, okay, so which one is like the good one? Which one is the one I want?
There's all the ones in between.
Yeah,
like you have like the hipster, the goth, the wallflower. Does anyone remember
main
like
character?
That's true.
Like they never get written as the main character because for some reason to the, I guess, writers, they're not interesting enough, I guess. But there's so much depth that can be written, but people are too lazy to develop female characters.
That's true.
I feel like the idea of like who you see in media as portrayed as like the good girl, you know what I mean? Like the good girl is never girly. The good girl is never too smart. The good girl is never like good as in like likable. Like the likable girl is like never
likable by other characters.
Yeah, like
I don't ever usually like the girl that they typecast as
like Tori Vega. There's like I don't know. I feel like
she got away with so much
because she wasn't girly. Like she wasn't like Kat. She wasn't like Jade. She wasn't like Trina. She was like a tomboy, but still like, you know what I mean?
Feminine when she needed to be.
No, okay, I don't know. It like she was the type of character that like put down the other characters. Do you know what I mean? Pardon?
To make her a character.
No, I don't want to use the term pick me. It's just like because we talk about how a lot of the characters we see are on the extremities, and then the ones that we don't see that are in the extremities, kind of like poop on the extremities. You know what I mean? Like poop on like different types of girls. Like sure, Trina Vega was like a pretty good mix of like this and like everything, but she still like depending on what narrative fit the episode better, she would like be more tomboy like or be more girly, you know what I mean? Like she
Tori.
What did I say?
Trina.
Oh, sorry, Tori. Yeah, like
yeah.
I don't think she was a true medium character. I don't think we've seen a true medium character because a medium I don't know, like she bounced back and forth between the extremities based on what fit the episode better. And yes, that's a point, like that's a part of like media. You can't it's hard to say anything because it's like what it's not necessarily like about the character. It's about what sells or like what fits the plot line better. But like it's just like characters like that, it's like the quirky girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very hard.
They're just shallow.
Yeah.
Shallow written characters.
Like the girl that's written to be the likable girl because she, I don't know, she's like one of the boys, but she's like pretty.
Also,
but she's not the prettiest because the prettiest girls are stupid and like shallow and rude. But she's not. She's also smart, but she's not nerdy because the nerdy girls are weird and they have braces and headgears and retainers and like glasses. And she's like cool, but she's not like. But she's still like awkward and like cutesy, you know.
She's like socially anxious.
But it's like like we talk about how we want like a medium, but it's like this
doesn't exist.
This is like the opposite of a medium. Do you know what I mean? Like it's.
I don't even think I want a medium. I just want a character with depth. Like, give me a character on the extremities. Just give me a reason for why they're like that. Don't just slap it on them and just be like, we're done here.
Like, the medium that we get with Tori Vega characters is not like a true medium of like embracing different aspects. It's taking different aspects and putting down other aspects. Do you know what I mean? Like, because Cat was pretty girly. Like her character.
It's a lack of extremes, but
it's like bland.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel genuine.
It's like instead of incorporating different parts of extremities, they just took out everything and just had like Tori Vega. Which is, I don't know. And I feel like that's why a lot of characters like Tori Vega and like Twilight Sparkles, etc., like the main character girls, instead of embracing different parts of being a girl, they just take away everything and they just pick different parts that fit the episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's a really hard concept to explain, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like, I feel like, I don't know, as any girls listening to this, I feel like you can definitely see like I think Carly from iCarly was one of the better ones because she didn't really put down other girls as much. They were like, because like her and Sam were still really good friends. Like she stuck up for Sam. There's episodes like remember that one episode where she's like, okay, I'm gonna give Sam a girly girl makeover because she likes this boy. But then when Sam like says that she doesn't like it or she like expresses like that she does not want it, like Carly's like, oh no, just try it one time. But like at the end of the day, she's like, no, Sam is not a girly girl and that's fine. Because she doesn't have to be. She accepts it, and Sam goes on a date with a guy with fries in her bra, and it's all like, it's all good.
All good.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like Twilight Sparkle. I don't know. I don't remember that much, but it's just character. I don't know. Like, it sounds contradictory because we were just talking about the extremities, and then we were talking about like the quirky girl who's not any of these extremities. It feels like we're going against what we just said about like not finding characters that are available with like depth. But these characters don't have depth. Like they're in them. Like
I think that's the common denominator. I think it's not necessary. Like sure, the extremities are part of it, but I feel like at the end of the day, at least for me, like if there's no real reasoning behind why these characters have these traits, then it falls flat. And I think it shows that like the media kind of like they tried this. Didn't really work. They tried this, didn't really work. It's still falling short. What are we missing? And you're missing depth.
Yeah, but also at the same time, I like back to Tori Vega because she's a really, I don't know. I think she just exemplifies it. It like within the cast, like within the male cast, none of them find her annoying, but at different points in the episode, they always find another female character annoying. Like when Beck gets mad at when Jade starts being like super like Jade like, Beck gets annoyed, and who does he turn to? He turns to Tori. He gets with Tori.
I feel like Tori is just the embodiment of what non-women think, or people who don't experience like womanhood.
How can we make a character that, if you're not like those other characters, that you can see yourself in this character? Well, I don't know. We'll just put this person here.
Like it's very. I feel like it's one of those female characters that you could just tell is not written by a woman.
Yeah, I don't think
ideal woman.
Yeah, like I don't think any of the other characters were written by women, but at least they had a personality, you know, like they were extremes. But
maybe that's what it is. Maybe they just can't manage more than one. Maybe like non-women, or like not people who haven't experienced what it's like to be a woman. They can't manage characters with more than one personality trait, and that's why we always get them. And when they do try it, it ends up being like
spread too much.
Yeah, like I don't know. Though Jade and Kat are extremities, there's a reason why they're everyone's favorite characters because Tori is so boring. She's literally there as like the back. Okay, no, that's mean, but like yeah, like when Kat and Tori had that same boyfriend or whatever. Do you remember that thing where?
Yes.
And it's like Tori was like the more manageable girl, like because Kat was too like I don't know, she's carrying on a wagon of Bibble. Like what are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
She's so funny. I love her.
I don't know, like the fact that she was so bland that she was likable, like that. No, hey, the fact that everyone liked her made her bland. You know what I mean? Because it's like honestly, if you met Tori Vega in real life, I don't know. Like,
well, you also have to take into consideration, like, when you watch these things, you're, like, under the age of 10.
I know. But
But, like, I rewatch episodes now, and I'm like, man, if I met this girl in real life, like, we would just not vibe.
Yeah, because unlike, like, I don't want to keep comparing Victorious to iCarly, but unlike iCarly, there is no there's a competition between the girls in Victorious versus in iCarly. They're like they were just accepted that like they're different, but in Victorious, it was, I don't know, just the
because like Tori and Jade were not friends, and like Tori and Kat were like not really that great.
Like it was funny that Tori found Jade like it was funny that Tori found Kat annoying. It was funny that like Tori hated Jade because on the first
like they were
like I don't know, like I don't know.
Her friendships were with well, I think Tori's main friendship was with Andre. Which, like, I think was arguably probably the best relationship Tori had with another character in that show. But
I don't know, like they put Tori on such a pedestal where she like looked down on the other girls. Like she pitied them. Like, oh, poor Sam, like poor Kat, she's so stupid, and poor Jay, she's so scary, you know? Like they put her on a like I can't explain it. She's not equal with the other girls. She was put above the other girls.
She's the main character.
Sure, no, but still, no, not even like the fact that she's a main character, just like the way that she viewed them. Like,
yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I think I know what you're saying.
I don't know. Maybe this is enough Tori slander. I'm sorry if anyone likes Tori. I don't know. I didn't like her at all.
Yeah, I don't. I know why you're. I empathize with your struggling because I can't verbalize why I don't like her either. Because I feel like there's not enough, like, again, like, to use the word depth, like there's not enough. Like, when I talk about why I don't really like Tori, it sounds very superficial because that's all there was to her character. Like,
I mean, I've never seen Victorious, but I feel like it's just us being sick of such unrealistic characters. Like, you can't have someone that likable but so mean, you know?
That's true. Yeah, imagine if you were that mean to another girl, like, people would not like you.
But, it's been fun talking.
Yeah, I think.
I hope one day we get a character who is strong, but also, I guess, isn't too stubborn or prideful to know when she needs help. Yeah, like.
Just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like every single girl listening to this, you can agree that you're not just one stereotype. Like, I feel
I think that made it.
Sorry. With like male characters, I don't know, like they're allowed to be more than like one type of male character. And like yes, there are instances where they do play into like one role, but it's nowhere near as like big as like female characters playing into one female role. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like you can still, like, even though they do that in media, you don't expect like guys in real life to adhere to one single typecast. Whereas I feel like because of the way that women are portrayed in media,
it's like we're not people. We're just like additions, like props. You know what I mean?
Did
like,
any of you go through that period where you were like, okay, well, what girl am I supposed to be? Because I feel like I definitely did. Where I was like, I kind of like found a singular facet of a girl that I saw in media that I was like, okay, this is close enough, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, this is my personality now because this is the only personality that I'm allowed to have.
Yeah, like
it definitely came from the way that women are portrayed in media.
Like, I don't know. Growing up, I was like, oh, I want to be a girly girl because I think pink is a pretty color, blah blah blah. And then you get like bombarded with like, oh, girly girls are so stupid. You have to be a quirky girl, a nerd, to be like, I don't know, like, because there's so many like movies about how being a nerd is like the best type of girl. Well, at least like when we were kids, there were definitely movies like that. And then it was like, oh well, no, I can't be a girly girl because I want to be smart, so I guess I gotta be a nerd. And then it was like, oh, but nerds are so ugly. I don't want to be ugly, so what do I do? Oh my god. And like, it's like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know. It's
as a 12-year-old, that's a lot to compute.
It's weird because it's not necessarily choosing who you want to be based on what you like. It's choosing what you want to be based on how many people hate that type of person. You know what I mean? Like, if so many people hate girly girls, you don't want to be a girly girl. If so many people hate nerds, you don't want to be a nerd. If people hate like blah blah blah, like I don't know, like now if you wanted to be a visco girl or whatever, people hate on you. Like you, I don't know, you can't be a visco girl because people hate visco girls. Can't be like a alt girl because people hate alt. You know what I mean? Just like different types of, I don't know. You gotta pick, but then if you pick one, as soon as you pick it, people start hating it, and then you gotta pick another one. People hate that one, and then it's like
because all the girls see that like, oh, this type of girl is being accepted right now. Who? And then everyone's like, oh, all the girls are doing that. No, and then they move, and you're like, okay, well now I gotta go here, and it's like,
like I don't know. I think it's like I remember seeing TikToks of like take a picture of yourself at the beginning of quarantine or like beginning of last year, and then like one now, and it, like there's such a drastic transformation. Like, but so many of them went from visco girl or like, you know, like checkered Vans, like white t-shirt or tank top to like, I don't know, ripped jeans, fishnets, monster drinks, and like these are, I don't know, it just, you can see the trends and you can see like the hatred that follows. I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of it is media is responsible for it 100%, because especially with the degree to which we consume media now and all the different types of forms of media where like you still just like, you can never accurately, I feel like you can't accurately capture a human being in media, but we can understand that for male characters or like we can understand that from, I'm gonna say we can understand that for male characters better than we can understand that for female characters, because you kind of expect women to adhere to these different typecasts more than you would expect a man to. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but I think that is all that we have to share about women in media and how women's portrayal in media has kind of shaped our views and affected us. Are there any, want to give any last comments?
Sorry if you like Tori. I kind of went hard on her.
If you like Tori, like, say something. I want to know.
Yeah.
Tell me why you like her.
Yeah. But I don't think anyone does.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow us if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube, and be sure to follow us on our Instagram and our TikTok at Calf Combos Podcast. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you.